Right, good day and welcome to today's webinar. We're going to be chatting again in the series of I am, therefore I think. So today I want to focus in on a little bit of what we call brain frequencies. Now this might be something completely new to you and you're going like, what is this? Well, it's science. And you might think it's a little bit foo-foo, but let me explain. Let me explain the science behind the reasoning, and maybe you can just find that little application to apply in your life. So how do we go about this? Well, there are a number of frequencies. Okay, let's just pause it. Let's go back. Our brain thinks, okay? Our brain thinks. As it thinks, it creates electrical circuitry. You think of it as a little transformer that's happening, creating electricity. Electricity has an electronic field. That electronic field can be measured in form of a frequency. So if you had to plug our brain in and look at our brain, it would have this field thing going around our head. Okay, so that's the basics of the science. Now, there are different frequencies that we operate in, and I'll take you through each of them, and depends on how our brain state is. So there's literally end-to-end 7 different frequency categories or bandwidths that your brain has. And we are able to tune those in, like an old radio where you like turn the tuning knob and it changes that frequency reception so we can change our frequency broadcast that we have. Now, just an interesting little fact, if all the brains, 8 billion people are broadcasting, what does that look like? What does that feel like? How does that kind of accomplish? What is that broadcast of brain frequencies around the world like? But that's for another subject. What I want to dive into today is just specifically looking at the different brain frequencies, and then we'll find a little application for that. So let's get into where we're going. So here are our brain waves, as I've called them, brain waves. Think of them as ripples across the ocean. You throw a rock into the pool and it kind of ripples around there. So the lowest frequency, kind of from 0.5 hertz up to 5 hertz. Hertz is the scientific measurement of a frequency. So this is the low frequency, if you want to call it. This is when we're sleeping. This is when our brain is disconnected from the physical self. We don't feel pain. You don't feel how full your bladder is. You don't feel any discomfort, and you're able to sleep through this. This is what we might call REM sleep or deep sleep. This is the delta sleep. It's a very conscious, subconscious stuff. It's very important to have some of this every day because it's when our brain does the filing, because it doesn't have to deal with all the physical stuff. It does all the filing of our stuff that's happened during the day and puts them into all the different files according to our senses. Okay, so it's very important to have REM sleep each day and to be able to do that. But we can't then operate in this environment because we're kind of not conscious. Okay, so we've got then the theta level, which is a little bit kind of drowsy dreaming. Now, if you're conscious enough to be aware of when you wake up, all right, now a lot of people really operate in this level quite well. It's the area of lucid dreaming. It's the area of focus. It's the area of quite a lot of creativity. But for most people, it's a couple of minutes between deep conscious sleep and fully awake. Some of us get wrenched out of deep sleep by the alarm, but if you wake up naturally, it's that state where it's just, it's that happiness, it's that bliss, it's that period of just relaxation, that time that you don't want to get out of bed. Okay, that's kind of where you are. Now, you can invoke this. A lot of therapists invoke this to deal with things like trauma and to deal with hardships in life, because it's a time that the brain is most relaxed yet conscious. So it's a place. So next time you wake up or just before you go to sleep, your brain goes through those frequencies, kind of 4 to 8 hertz. A little bit above that, 8 to 14 is what we call alpha state. And now you might have heard there's alpha waves, there's alpha music, there's alpha tunes you can download from YouTube. You put your headphones on and it invokes this alpha brain state. I fully buy into that, but with a reservation. I'm going to come back to that just now. Okay, so fully into that. I do 40 minutes of alpha music every single day, sometimes twice, sometimes 3 times a day, depends on where my criteria is. I find it's the best way to pass time on an airplane. You just kind of zone out, go into alpha for an hour and the flight's over and you're good to go. So this is what they call relaxed wakefulness. It's the place where heightened creativity, heightened problem solving, and a lot of therapy that you can do. It's actually a really nice place because you're fully awake yet fully relaxed at the same time. One of my favorite states. Now, for most people, we are going around and we fall into one of these beta frequencies, and they've split them up into low beta, beta, and high beta. And just playing around with where we're at and how that works. So we've got a number of variables here. If you find yourself high stressed, it's like what we call hectic, the badge of honor in corporates. The people who are on the edge of burnout, and the people who are stressed, we kind of live in that beta area, sometimes mid beta, high beta. It's where we think productivity happens. A lady said to me the other day, don't worry, I'm a lastminute.com person. Let me get stressed and I'll get all the work done. And I was going like, no, sister. It's time to understand how your brain actually works and revert that state of I've got to be stressed to get productivity. It's a myth. It's a lie. Do not live in that state. And then right at the top here, we've got the gamma state, the 38 to 100 hertz. And it's a big bracket because that's the bracket that typically, if you're about to deliver a speech and your heart is pounding through your chest and your legs are shaking and your adrenaline is up to here, or you're about to face the first ball of a test cricket match or the first over of a 2020 cricket, or take a kick in a rugby game that's really important, all those, that's the state. You will kind of recognize that when you're there. It could also be an induced state due to shock, trauma. You've just had a car accident. You're in a fight for your life. You're in a war zone, whatever. That's kind of where your brain goes. Now, it's a really interesting state because for the majority of people, we lose control of the physical self, almost like the first state. A lot of people in high stress do not remember what they've gone through because the physical and the conscious and subconscious seem to separate. What they do for highly trained sports people, special forces, stuff is you learn how to operate in that area, but connect 100%. So you have 100% conscious control over your physical. You're able to kick, you're able to see, you're able to measure and monitor. What the body naturally does is that it gives you tunnel vision, it focuses you in there, it stops feeling your toes and fingers so you can't run, you can't pick things up, you can't do things because your body is going, oh my goodness, survival, survival, survival. We need to just keep focusing on this. We don't want necessarily full body, but you can train your body to go up and down into all these different states. So without getting too much science, let's look at it as a kind of a horizontal representation. So you can see there on the left, this beautiful green shallow waves moving to the right where this high powered, like high frequency. I've been able to separate those frequencies out into different audio frequencies that we're able to listen to, and you can play and you can hear the difference between relaxation and high stress, and people will recognize the frequency that they're in because as you admit and as you broadcast, so you're able to receive. And that brings me back to this whole thing about listening to alpha music. Like if you're in the high beta state and you put on headphones with alpha music, it's going to do nothing other than annoy your brain. And I've heard so many people try this. Oh, I tried that and it didn't work. And I tried it again and it didn't work. Yes, because you're trying to make a leap from like 30 hertz back down to like 10 hertz, and the gap for your brain is too much. My proposal is that we develop a number of bridging frequencies that takes you from where you are back to where you are. So I've got a set of frequencies for highly stressed, highly burnt out people. Put on your headphones. We start in the gamma. We start in the 40 to 50 hertz. And slowly we change the music, we change the frequency, and slowly we get to high beta, then beta, low beta, and eventually back to alpha. Takes longer, takes more relaxation, takes more breathing, and it takes more focus. But it is possible through conscious and subconscious exercises to be able to regain where your brain is and to refocus and get you where you're at. So that's a little overview on brain frequency. Sure, there's a ton of sites, there's a ton of lessons, but one of the companies in the world that I've worked with for a number of years, I've had their little machines for probably 25 years now. And it's been an absolute lifesaver. I'm a professional speaker. I stand on stage. I facilitate in high stress environments. And to be able to manage your heart rate and your brain frequencies using this stuff called HeartMath is amazing. What HeartMath does, it measures the modulation of the frequency changes of your heart rate. Okay, you don't have to worry about that, but ultimately what it does, it gives you a graphic representation, as you can see. On the left, high stress, on the right, not so stressed, so calm down. And I can physically take myself through in probably about 30 seconds to a minute, maybe a minute and a half for high stress. I can take myself out from a highly stressed, not functional, down to what they call in the zone state. And I do that before I get up on stage. I do that before I make a hard phone call or I have a meeting with somebody. And I'm able to consciously, because I've gone through those exercises after years and years, and actually consciously take control of my subconscious bodily functions. It's a wonderful thing to be able to do. So, little snapshot about heart frequencies, brain frequencies, what we emit, what we absorb, where we gain, and there is a way to measure it. If you're interested in this, I'd love to chat to you. You can drop by the HeartMath website and go see what they've got. There's a couple of apps that you can download and a couple of instruments you can plug onto your finger or your ear and help measure that. I'd love to chat to you more about this if you want to enhance your brain and your brain frequencies and your life in general. Yeah, my name is Bruce Wade. You can click here and get hold of me or just Google me and have a chat. I'd love to chat to you further. Have an awesome day.